What's up, YouTube? Currently walking on very nice day, very good weather. This is the Sabina Cemetery. We're in Sabina, Ohio. Can you imagine being a Civil War soldier or a soldier from whatever previous war, 200 years ago, and having a guy about 50 yards away point this at you? Yeah, instant body parts. Wow, that is amazing. Very, very deadly piece of machinery right there. Okay, so let's get into why I'm here. So I was walking in town, Jeffersonville. I was doing a story, and somebody had, they were looking at my camper and they were asking me, "Oh, what year is that?" And started talking about that stuff, and they had a similar camper, and then I started asking them questions about this subject of what I was doing in Jeffersonville, talking about the murder of a little girl. And they told me, they said, "Have you ever heard of Eugene the Mummy?" And I said, "Well, no, I actually haven't. What is that?" So they told me a story about a man who is referred to as Eugene. So who is Eugene? Well, back in 1928, people here in Sabina, Ohio, they had noticed that there was a black guy. He was just kind of moping around town, possibly looking for work. He definitely wasn't from this area. Nobody knew who he was. So maybe a few days later, just on the outskirts of town, they found this guy dead in a ditch, right? I'm not sure if they did an autopsy on him. So they say that it looks like he just kind of died of natural causes, so to speak. Several different people have been saying that in the days leading up to his death, that when he was walking around town, he looked like he wasn't doing too well. He looked like he was sick. They guessed that he was probably in his mid to late 40s. Not exactly sure. And he just looked like one of these traveling guys that they just come into town, they work an odd job, and they just leave. So the local funeral home, they got him, right? And they embalmed him, and nobody knew who he was. So what do you do with somebody that you just embalmed and nobody knows who he is? Well, you put him on display. So they put this corpse, this mummy, whatever you want to call it, they put him in some kind of like a shed near a bus stop right next to the funeral home. So I guess they figured that somebody's going to recognize him, because word started getting around town that, hey, there's this guy that's a mummy. Nobody knows who he is. Me personally, I think it's a great marketing strategy. I think that's why they did it, just to bring, some notoriety to their name. And it's a genius move, a genius idea. So that's what they did. And, people would come and just look at him, but nobody knew who he was. And, over the next 40 some odd years or so, people would just come and look at him. And it's estimated that about 1.5 million people would come by. And so they called this man Eugene. Who knows why they named him Eugene? Could have been a goof on somebody in town named Eugene. We don't know. But just a man with no name. And 1964, because kids in the area, towns like this, they're so boring. These goofs out here, they played pranks and tricks. I think they stole some gold teeth out of his mouth or something. And then some kids, they stole his body and took him to the Ohio State University and propped him up on a bench outside as a goof, as a joke. So eventually after that was the last straw. So the funeral home finally just buried him, and they buried him right here. That is his grave right there. All it says is Eugene, found dead 1928, buried 1964. Actually, I believe that date is wrong. I believe he was found dead in 1929, but don't quote me. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, all it says is Try not to get too much of my shadow in here, but yeah, that's all it says right there. And you got several coins, pennies, and got these flowers, got some solar lights. So you can see him or see his grave at night. And yeah, just a very odd story. It just, you know, I believe the main reason why I find this story fascinating, not necessarily because of, you know, the man and them doing, you know, propping up his body. I thought it was a genius marketing strategy by the funeral home. So yeah, rest in peace to whoever this man, his God-given name was. And I'm sure that his family, you know, his mom and dad, his brothers and sisters, uncles, nephews, cousins, they probably just thought, you know, he was a wandering traveler. They figured he just started a new life somewhere. They never knew what happened to him. Nobody ever came forward. And, you know, this was in newspaper articles and magazines and stuff like that. And nobody ever just thought, hey, whatever happened to Uncle Chuck or what have you? Or where's my dad? Did he have kids? The only thing that was found, he had no identification. So the only thing that was found was $1.40 in his pocket and an address of 1118 Yale Avenue in Cincinnati. So let's go take a quick ride. We're going to go see where he used to, I guess, reside at. This is the Littleton Funeral Home. This was where Eugene was brought to be embalmed on the day that he was found. Quite an interesting looking funeral home. I've never seen one quite like it. Looks to me like it probably just used to be a big house. Anyways, so when we go down the street right here, up ahead, you'll see that little brick house. And that was where Eugene's body was propped on a couch and left from 1929 to right at around 1964 when he was finally buried. And this was a bus stop at the time. So you could imagine that people coming right here in the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, as they were waiting for the bus, they would just come to this brick home and just peek inside, and they would see Eugene just sitting there. They would change his clothing when they would get like ratted or whatever, tattered. So he always had some fresh clothes on, so to speak. Before I let you guys go, this is the last stop of the video. I just wanted to come down to Cincinnati to actually go to that address of 1118 Yale Avenue to see what it was. And right where that black car is, this would be 1118 Yale Avenue. And when the detectives back then went to the address to go see what it was just an empty lot, and it still remains an empty lot to this day. So who knows why that man had this address in his pocket? Who knows? Maybe somebody gave him a fake address for a job or something. I don't know. But anyways, rest in peace to that man, whatever his God-given Christian name was. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I will catch up with y'all later. Have a good one. Peace out.